a judge decides to give a white supremacist a very light sentence, a slap on the wrist, basically, put up the picture full mask. This individual engaged in criminal conduct by beating a journalist, confessed to it, admitted to it. This is in California. U.S. District Judge Cormac J. Carney sentenced Tyler Lube, a member of a violent white supremacist group who confessed to beating a journalist, time served and a $2,000 fine, nothing more. In his sentencing memo Thursday, U.S. District Judge Carney made it clear why he was letting Tyler off lightly. It wasn't just because of what Tyler did or didn't do. The defendant had already confessed to beating a journalist at a 2017 Southern California rally and pleaded guilty to violating riot laws as part of a white supremacist gang. Tyler deserved a light sentence, the judge said, because prosecutors should have focused on leftist groups. What? With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable. We just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show. In a 22-page memo, the judge repeatedly said prosecutors have ignored violence committed by Antifa and instead focused on targeting people like Tyler, Trump supporters, and members of the far right. Sentencing Tyler to an additional incarceration would only increase the disparity between his punishment and the lack of punishment and prosecution. Members of far left groups have committed the same violent conduct and received, Carney wrote, the sentence, time served, 35 days rather than the 6 months prosecutors had sought. Wait a minute, put this judge back up again. Judge, I see where you're going here. And just follow me in the legal logic. So you decided to give him a light sentence because according to your theory, prosecutors routinely have given lighter sentences to left-leaning organizations who engage in the same conduct. So that is your proclamation, that is your belief, and that is your judicial statement on the record. So can we take it a step further? Are you now willing to let every black man go because of the light sentence given historically to white men for the same criminal conduct as black men have been charged with? Typically, black men get a harsher sentence under the same condition and white men get a much lighter sentence. Will you now engage in evening the odds, as I guess you are attempting to do here based on your judicial statement? Are you willing to do that as well? Because these are criminal cases, sir. Which means if the logic can apply here, left, right, it should be able to apply there, black, white. The same day, Tyler received a sentence at the federal courthouse in Santa Ana, California, the largest ever prosecution of members of Antifa in American history, was going to trial just 89 miles away in San Diego. The last two defendants in the San Diego 11 members of Antifa charged with committing violence against Trump supporters in January 2021 were sitting before jury. So the judge was historically inaccurate, by the way, factually inaccurate by what he provided for the record. The 9 co-defendants have already been sentenced, some of them to years in prison for their crimes. Once again, the judge provided a statement outside of truth. It was not factual. The two cases are not perfect parallels. Tyler was charged and sentenced in federal court while the two Antifa defendants in San Diego, Jeremy White and Brian Lightfoot, were charged by a local DA in the state court. But both cases involve fights between the far left and the far right at protest. Both involve scraps caught on camera. Both cases focus not just on the violence, but on the group's alleged organizing and planning before a melee. That's some of the aggravating consequence of the scenario. So Judge Carney also made headlines back in 2020 after calling a black court official, quote, street smart, Yeah, street smart. And had resigned as chief district judge over the racially charged comment. But he remained a federal judge for the Central District of California, which is the nation's largest federal court jurisdiction. Judge Carney was appointed to a lifetime post in 2003 by then President George W. Bush. Wow. I mean, I thought the right didn't like activist judges. He literally is telling you, I'm sentencing this person not because of anything this person has proven on record as a reason for a lighter sentence. It is not because they have provided some type of amazing recovery, rehabilitation, change of mind about who you are or were at that time and who you are today. Nothing. None of those normative dynamics that typically would be a consideration for a judge. It's based on you. This is based on the judge's political ideology and the judge's assertion that somehow people on the left just are not prosecuted heavily enough for the same crimes. Wow. All right, Jackson, there's a whole lot of there to this, but it's been swept under the rug.
Yeah, well, it always, the faux principality of the right always cracks me up. This is about as principled as the Arizona Supreme Court going back 160 years to just do what they want. To come up with some law that was passed 48 years before Arizona even became a state to ban abortion. All that to say, while there are good men among us, at the end of the day, powerful people, especially if they're not on the good side, do what they can if they can get away with it. And that's all this is. He's just doing what he feels like because he can, and he has to have some type of explanation to give. So that's it right there. When really, it all boils down to he just doesn't think that this person should serve a harder sentence. He doesn't care. That's all it is. Like even if he had to find something. So whether it was the left gets away with it or whatever else, the left wears too much blue hair. It could have been anything. He just did what he felt like doing at the end of the day, upholding an ideology that he follows.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite extreme. It's really unheard of for a judge to offer that in the official statement as to why they decided to go light on somebody. Does this create precedent? All right, we shall see.